What team are you guys scrimming against?
Some team. This is where is this? This was yesterday. They actually gave me a name. Let me find it.
I know they had one.
They were Comets, Leica Esports. I have no idea who they are.
Like
Comets?
Yeah, Leica.
like
Leica Esports.
Like a dollar.
LICHA?
No.
Like
No. LAIKA Esports, and then Comets is the name of the team, I think.
I
I
think
think
I
they
know
were
that
doing
one. Yeah.
tryouts as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I know that team. They have like I think they have a 4.5k team.
Yeah.
That work.
Yeah. That'll work, yeah.
Okay, so it looks like we're playing the Stockholm comp.
Yeah.
Is this what you guys typically play?
Yeah.
That's what we've
Okay.
yeah, that's what we've kind of gone to
Okay.
being comfortable with.
Did our Reaper TP our team? Looks like
You
it.
should have, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a new subtitle, untitled.
Yeah, so this is kind of an unfortunate wall. With this new character, you need to be cautious of stuff like this, obviously. I think once our brig gets walled off, we should go here and just get to cover as soon as possible. Because if we were to deepen our angle and go this way, because obviously if we stay here, it's really bad, right? Because we're just kind of in the open.
Yeah.
But if we decide to go to the right, then they can probably crash on you a lot faster than we can, because we just used our stomp to get to here. And because our Reaper's TPing from spawn, he's not even in the fight, right? So our goal right now is to do a few different things. We need to scout what comp they're on, which is what we're currently doing, okay? And then we also need to stable and like just survive until our Reaper is back. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think in this position, just get your brig to default to go into this corner. And so that way you have like a decent stable positions where you can kind of play. Usually sometimes like supports would be kind of okay on this bridge, but now with this guy, it maybe becomes a little bit difficult. So I would say just try to like get to a more stable position if you can, like as soon as possible. And then once your Reaper's back, you can actually take the fight like a bit more fairly. We'll see here. Yeah, like this, for example, is it's a little bit questionable because like maybe you land this stomp and you get the kill and it looks really sick. But the other thing that's most like a lot more likely is maybe the Soj just trades slide for stomp, and so you end up like staggering yourself on the bridge, and then the Soj is just like back towards her Mega or something. You know.
Well, then what should I play instead?
I would say that the Malga shouldn't be pinning here. So the reason why we shouldn't be pinning is again because our Reaper's not back, right? Our team currently is not stable. We can tell that because the Hazard took his turn. So when we see the Hazard go for a play like this, right? When he does this right here, this indicates to me that it is blue team's turn right now, okay? So when we're saying turn, for those of you who don't know, we're just talking about like when you're investing resources, investing the resources that you have to make some sort of play, to make some sort of movement, to get some sort of kill. So when I see a Hazard use this cooldown and this cooldown, that tells me that right now he wants to do something with those cooldowns. Because if you're going to use cooldowns for nothing, then like what's the point, right? So this guy's going in to accomplish something, which is to pressure the brig, kill pressure, right? And that means that his teammates are very likely to try to follow up with him in theory. Now, as of right now, their Genji is not in a position to follow up greatly. I would like it if he was able to take an angle with their Lucio or something like that. But, you know, I don't coach them, okay? But right now, they're kind of just stacking on a line. That's not really what their comp wants to do. But theoretically speaking, if we were facing a better team, they would probably have a few more angles developed, right? And then when their Hazard says 3, 2, 1, look at Brig, I walled her off, go in, their Genji's pinching and this character's pinching and stuff like that happens, okay? So this cycle by the Hazard here indicates to me that it is currently their turn. What this means, that like detail, mixed with the fact that our Reaper, we should know intuitively that our Reaper is going to be slow coming back. These two things mean that, again, we need to make sure that right now we just survive their dive, right? Survive all of this pressure that's theoretically going to come in. Once we survive that, our comp should outbrawl them, okay? Because our Reaper is going to do too much damage to this guy. Our Malga is going to damage this guy. Our Echo is going to beam him or beam the Genji. So what's going to happen is if we can survive this turn, afterwards, they will have to naturally concede space. That means we get to push, set the line right here. Point should be unlocking very, very soon. Send one person to touch, and then hold the line right here with 4 people. Does this make sense to you guys? Can you kind of visualize this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's their turn right now. We just got to stable. Look at our Brig, right? Look at our Reaper. They're not in the fight yet. Our brig just used bash. They're still quite low, and then our tank's like, fuck it, I'm gonna go. Okay. So the reason why this is kind of an issue is because it's still their turn, sort of. Like we haven't actually stabled yet. And if you look, we're sort of doing what their hazard did, right? Like we're trying to go aggressively on backline, but do we have support in that regard? Right? No one is set up for an angle. No one is ready for this play. So it's not that this play is bad necessarily. It's just that we need to justify it, right? Like we need help when we're making these decisions. So what we could do instead is just kind of chill out here and just turn and shoot this guy. You're going to heal off of him, right? You're going to force his block. He just used his jump. He just used his wall, okay? Their backline, the main threat, is their Sojourn. And if we sit right here and our team is 4-stacking here behind this corner, their Soj doesn't actually see anybody, correct?
Yeah.
So that means their Soj is effectively dead. Their Soj is out of the fight, so to speak. Okay. So if my Malga sits here and shoots this guy, you'll notice that this corner isolates these 4 people in a fight between these 2 people. And last time I checked, 4 beats 2. And in this case, it's actually 5 because our Malga's here. So that means this Genji's going to have to deflect immediately. This Malga's, not the Malga, the Hazard's going to have to block immediately, whatever the hell that ability is called. And then once his deflect is over, can he stay here? Nope. He's going to dash out. He's going to get out. Once his block is over, can he stay here? Nope, he's going to get out. And during that timing, right when they're going out, that's when we go in. So this is the idea of pushing and pulling in this game, okay? Right now, they're pushing. We should be pulling and just stabling. Then they're going to have to pull, and we get to push them. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. So we need to understand when it's our turn, when we're allowed to play the game, and when we're not allowed to play the game. This is exactly why we don't do this, okay? So we try to go as they're still taking their turn. It's still there. They're still the ones in control. No, look at our backline, how unstable we are, right? Their Genji and their Hazard have not been forced out yet. So they just say, okay, my next cycle, I'm just going to go in even harder, right? I haven't been forced out yet. So why would I not go and continue pressuring for the kill, okay? So their Hazard's like, hey, my second jumps back, let me just go one-shot our brig. And that's exactly what happens, okay? So we need to force these guys out, and then we can kind of play the fight, okay? We go for a stomp. We're very, very low. Trades back and forth, and then we end up losing the fight. Yeah, that's okay. So it's just about recognizing when it's their turn to play the game and when it's our turn to play the game. There's usually going to be a push and pull for most comps in Overwatch. All right, what should we do here? Anybody have any ideas?
Well, the idea is
Well, this fight plan was my idea, so
Okay, what's the idea?
well, I don't know if this is correct or not, but I was gonna call like, okay.
Doesn't matter if you think it's correct or not. Just say it. No judgments here.
Yeah, because like they can't like reasonably like poke for too long. I mean, they have the Soj, right? But like,
What makes you think that they can't poke for an extended period of time?
I mean, okay, actually, no. I take that back. Hold on, hold on, let me like lock in here.
It's okay.
I mean, like we need to like, we can't play like. If we go white room, right? At least my reasoning was if we go white room, then it's easier for the Hazard to like get easy walls off, stuff like that. So bridges are like our best play, right?
Okay.
We just need to go fast on the Soj, right? I mean, like we have ring, like they're just holding corner here. My reasoning was just ring, charging with Malgud, try to get Hazard, try to get Sojourn here. Bring the fight towards them, because like if we force out Soj slide or any other cooldowns, then like it's still a positive for us. So
okay, yeah. So
the
I'm not
idea is we have
100%.
more sustain, and we can just brawl them to try. That's why we speed ring and stomp. We try and either try to get a hard engage going, and I assume just force the Soj to either get out or die, because Soj is not that maneuverable. She has one cooldown to get out.
I think also like there's a few different candidate options for us here, right? Like we could go here, we could go white room. We could also split and send somebody to point as well. So we have like different options at our disposal. Usually what you would want to do on a retake like this, if we were playing something like a Tracer, is I would just send Tracer to point and have them touch here, and then that forces a response, which softens up this area of the map, right? So here your Reaper could probably TP, and it probably looks okay. If they go on your Reaper, that's the timing when we should be going, which I think would look fine. There's also maybe a timing that like your Echo could start playing over here and shoot this way. and like your brig can pocket from here, and your brig can possibly bash across even if there's opportunities later. Okay. If we're gonna go for a play like this, I think this is okay to do, but I think it's a little bit too early because, in my personal opinion, these guys should be taking damage right now, like especially from our echo. I don't think they should be allowed to stand here. So if we can shoot them a little bit to make them DP kind of more like this, that's when I think we should be more willing to go, because it should be a little bit easier for us to kind of spread out and fan out once we force them back slightly. Okay. What I'm worried about is if we go for a play here, what they should honestly be doing is not have their Soj play here, in my opinion. I think their Soj should be minimum playing here, as far away from this line as humanly possible. The reason why is because when the Malga stomps in, they should slide backwards, get infinite distance where they cannot be reached anymore, and just be like a server admin from behind where no one's marking her, and just shooting. Okay, does this make sense?
Yeah.
The other play that you honestly should probably do, and this is the play I would probably go for, is have your Reaper TP somewhere here as your Malga stomps in. So that way your Reaper gets this corner and is able to shoot inwards, right? We always want to work outside in this game. And then our Malga can probably like stomp through and land like somewhere over here maybe, or like over here.
You
so
still want
this way-
What was
to
that again? You want to work outside in?
In Overwatch, right? If we draw a formation like this is the shape of their team, correct? Right?
Yeah.
In fact, I guess we could draw it like more like this. Let's pretend that their Soj was like here, okay? We're just gonna draw 5 players. Okay. This is like a shape. Okay.
Yeah.
So they have 5 players. This is the space that they control. If we were to try and like walk in between them, we'll get pinched by their angles, correct? Or I guess a more accurate description would be like a player standing here, player standing here, something more like this, I guess. Okay.
Yeah.
So if we try to like walk this way, or if we try to like go over the wall for some reason, then this person's going to shoot at us, this person's going to shoot at us, they're all going to shoot at us. So if we go inside of their formation, we take infinite damage, right? But if we're able to, let's say, send somebody over here and they push in from the outside working in, then this angle here no longer exists. It collapses in, because now we're applying sufficient pressure to their formation. Their formation will have to stack harder. So now that player has to regroup with their team. Now we just gain space. So then the people who took this space initially, they get to push their way in more. And then maybe we go for this guy and we push him in. So now his angle starts to collapse and he starts looking like this. Do you see how the space they control starts getting smaller and smaller?
Yeah.
So this is why, let's say there was a player, like, let's say that there was a legitimately like an Ashe flanking here or something, right? If we were to ignore her and go forward, she's going to kill us, right? But if we can go for the Ashe and push her to stack with her team, do you see how like this is path of least resistance? Like it's just the easiest option for us. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
So that is why when you're playing Malga, you don't want to stomp and then end up right here. That's really bad because you're inside of their formation. Okay. What you want to do instead as Malga is stomp. And if you can land on a target, then go for it, but it's a bit of a risk. What you can do is stomp, instead of thinking about stomping to kill somebody, stomp to reposition yourself. Okay. So what if you're Malga and you stomp through and you end up like more over here towards the outside of where their formation is? And if your Reaper TP's here, all of a sudden, you guys have a pinch on their entire team. Do they shoot Reaper or do they shoot Malga? Does anybody know? It's a trick question. It's impossible to know. Okay. Because there's 2 options. And that's why an off angle is valuable, because it forces a choice. If the Malga and the Reaper, if Reaper TP's right here and Malga ends up right here, guess what they're going to do? Everyone just shoots in one direction. We're going to get rolled. Does this make sense?
Oh, yeah.
That's why I don't want Reaper to TP here. I would want Reaper to specifically to TP here, because now they're behind a corner. They can't be shot by anyone who kites back. So this Sojourn who slides away over to here and the Kiriko that likely kites away can't see the Reaper right now. So we're isolating fights here. And then the Malga's over here and you shoot this way. And then now your team's shooting this way. All of a sudden we have a beautiful 3-way pinch. Okay. Does somebody have a question?
Do you still want the Echo to go on the right side? Or
I think if Echo finds a 3-2-1 timing where during Malga's stomp and during Reaper's TP, these guys are going to be so psychologically preoccupied with what's going on their screen here, they're not going to see the Echo if they go here and just hit free stickies.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And this is a very short rotation for you. Just fly like right here. You can even just probably jump and float or some shit, and then you're just good. Like you just hit a bunch of stickies, you shoot. Then you can maybe fly over here and start shooting people, like float on the top. Over here, shoot. Look for beams on the Genji that's like double jumping. Look for beams on any characters that are low. You get what I'm
Do you
saying?
play more poke like as Echo against this comp, or do you still play with like engages and going for like a beam?
We should
beam
always
kill?
be coordinating some sort of aggression. The best word I can use is activity. You need to get active when your team is getting active.
Sure.
You're not playing like a Sojourn sitting in the back and just hoping for a pick, right?
Okay.
Like your character plays almost like a Genji in a way. Okay. So when we go in here and my Reaper's going here, it's a pinch, right? My Echo should be getting active in some sort of way. Now, maybe that's going through main. That's okay. Maybe it's flying somewhere over here and taking an angle this way, which is what I would prefer. That's also fine. Okay. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. The other thing that I would recommend is if they try to trade onto our backline, I want my backline to go across here.
Right.
Like if you can make this bash as a brig, if their hazard goes down this, so like we can say this is a lane and this is a lane. If their hazard goes down this lane, sidestep, take the other lane. Now you're a DPS. You're DPS brig. Okay. If you are on an off angle and then you engage on their backline, you're not tradable because they're looking for the backline over here behind our front line. That makes sense?
And Juno's just Juno.
Yeah, Juno's just Juno.
Yeah.
But like if the hazard's chasing a Juno, that's exactly what we want.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right? So yeah. Yeah. So we end up hitting this stomp. Right? But like I said before, their Sojourn should not be this far. Like Soj very nearly got hit by that, and they also didn't think about the fact that they would have to kite against our comp, which is like it did, you know, not the highest level of thinking, because like if you're playing against Malga and the Malga team doesn't use stomp eventually, like, you know, they're just gonna lose, right, to Soj poke. So they should have been standing here mentally prepared to slide backwards, and they clearly weren't because they slid into the pillar because they weren't even thinking about the possibility of them sliding in the future. So most of the stuff in Overwatch, this is not necessarily something that's like micro-wise, it's not specific to us because we're not playing the Soj, but the mistake that they're making is what we can apply and learn from ourselves, is most fights in Overwatch are won due to preparation, not because people are making plays. Okay? Like at the highest level, people will make plays, but everywhere else, like a lot of times the team that's better planned and better prepared will win fights. So this is a lack of preparation on their side. Notice where my Malga ends up. It's right in the middle of their team. So you're going to take damage from this angle, you're going to take damage from the Genji, and take damage from this guy. Okay? If you instead ended up like over here, right? Or if you instead ended up maybe over here or something, like behind them, then our Juno could still jump up and heal you, or even go this way and heal you, okay? While retaining LOS of you, while you're not taking damage from multiple different angles, you're taking damage more towards just the front of your face, okay? What happened to our Reaper?
You got sillied.
Ah, that's unfortunate. Okay, yeah. So what I would just recommend is just go for a TP on this space. I think looks really, really juicy. Like I feel like it has to be a decent TP. But yeah, this is why I was saying I'm not 100% on the theory of like we can't go white room because hazard wall. Like bridge with hazard wall looks pretty fucking scary too, right? Like
Yeah.
it's got to look a little bit dicey. So I feel like any choke is dangerous with like going against the hazard. But that's why I like playing characters like Tracer, because they can force the objective a bit easier. Yeah. Okay. Looks like this fight doesn't go exactly the way we wanted. Really care the boops as well from Lucio. Nice, very good slam. All this looks fine. They waste their wall. That's a really bad play on their part. Now they don't have wall for your push timing. Judo's coming back eventually. Should be able to get beam off their heels. We're touching point as well. Then we go in aggressively. Okay, now we do the TP. Oh, TP a little far, but that's fine. Okay. Yeah, again, we need to care Lucio boop. It's always going to be a lose condition if we go bridge, so just care that. Yeah, like
No,
this is when...
Is there like a best way to avoid Lucio boops like that?
I mean, I think we just have to call it.
Right.
Like for our team, you know, like if Lucio's
yeah,
just hard inting, like just care it. But like in general, you should be mentally prepared to care it as well. Like there's always the threat of Lucio boop, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I was saying, if they go aggressively like this, there's maybe a time for you to just bash this way. Because no one's looking at you. It looks scary. Like if you bash across first and then your team goes, you're instantly dead. But if you wait for your team to go first, everyone's looking at the big fat Malga. You just bash across the gap and you're fine, right? So it's about like who actually has the attention of the enemy team. Also notice here, we end up having the idea of sending our Echo to point and they force during the fight. This is really, really, really good. So I feel like Echo or Reaper could have done this earlier on our initial retake as well.
Good job, Monchi.
Okay, they use Rush. Our objective is just to live right now, so just don't die. I don't mind this cage. I think that's fine.
Good job, thank you.
All right, nice. Really good. Okay. Nice. We get a nice stagger. That's great. Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, he went way too deep for that stack. For like a trade.
Okay, this is just a micro thing. Maybe we just didn't think of it. Does anyone know what we should do in this position here?
Push to help him?
Yeah, push up, yeah, a little bit.
You
we have
need the body
Maga,
block
yeah.
right here.
Does
This
E
should not.
still,
This should not be a kill.
Yeah, does E still give
I
damage
actually don't mind
resistance?
this. I don't mind this kill. Yeah. What's up?
Does I forget? Did they change? What did they do? With Maga's E
You
again? Did
still get damage reduction. Yes.
they still get damage? Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I'm not even talking about like maybe we don't even have shout right now. I don't even care about shout. I want your body to be here. Your character's body is thicker than this character's body. So just stand right here and like tank the damage for him and then he gets out for free. We just leave our Reaper to die. Does this make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
here, and also our Reaper, unfortunately, is like straight lining as well. Like if we end our Wraith here and expect to live walking like this, it's not going to happen. Bare minimum, you should be doing this. Like strafing as much as you can, and then our Malga eventually has to walk up, but I think our Malga just didn't think about that. So when you see a player like this in need of help and you're a tank player, you have to be able to like make the mental call to just walk forward and like turn around, put your head down to reduce your head hitbox, and just walk in front of your Reaper and take all the damage for him, okay? Because your body is essentially a shield at that point, right? Our Reaper definitely should not get traded here. I think that this pick is fine. Okay, this is a mistake. Okay, does anyone know why? It's a very, very, very small one, but it's meaningful.
I have no idea actually. I do
Okay, this
a lot.
character does way more than you do at this range. Okay, so if
Yeah.
you peek like this, you're just feeding more ult charge and more damage. You're gonna lose your armor, and then they're gonna go. Okay, what you should do is sit behind this wall and do absolutely nothing. Okay, the reason why is because their comp eventually has to cross this line. When they do, then you peek and you punish. But if they're not crossing this line and if they're not touching the objective, do we need to do anything?
No, not really.
Not really, right?
Do we have someone scouting? Like, is there a scout here? In
Scouting
or-
is different than shooting, right?
Sure.
Like,
yeah.
because scouting is really easy with their composition. Just look at them. Like, oh, they're right in front of me.
So
I'm
just
here.
like corner peek and then back.
Yeah. Corner
Okay,
peek,
okay.
or even someone else. Like, even your Brig could be playing here with your Echo or something, and you're peeking. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, it could be any number of things. But like, multiple different people can scout for sure.
Gotcha.
Your Juno's also way too close as well. I'm not sure why we're playing here unless we're going for a first tempo Juno ult, which I think would be a really bad idea.
I think that's what we go for, or we're talking about.
Salt looks like
no, we can't go for that because we're down Reapers.
We were going to. The
That's
comms we
part
were
of it.
going to, and then we realized Reaper was dead.
That's part of it. The more important reason why we shouldn't is because look at their comp. Like, who are you gonna hit? This guy's fast. This guy TP Suzu's. This guy has slide. This guy has dash. This guy has jump and block and wall. How are you gonna catch anybody? Do they not just kite you? So what we should use Juno ult for is what? If their comp is really mobile and it's tough to actually like when you're playing Malga mirror like this, you can Juno ult and you can kill Brig or Malga or slower characters, right? But how should you use Juno ult against a matchup like this?
When they've gone in, or like.
Okay, yeah, right. We can do it when they've gone in. So when they've committed a lot harder for space, then we can maybe rip the Juno ult because their backline's like more over here, right? The other option we have is in response to something. So if they use like a Kiriko rush, we can maybe just Juno. The third option that we have is just use it for objective control. So if there's a fight on point and they kite it, they're giving up the objective. Okay. So for example, if we were on a retake and they're playing here, let's say that red team is the enemy, we're blue team here. If we walk in and then we Juno ult like this, right? Or maybe a little bit closer, more like this. Okay. If they stand on the objective, they die. If they don't stand on the objective, they actually lose something. They lose point. So, like, even if they live the Juno ult, they have to give up something in response to it. It forces them. It guarantees that we're going to get some amount of value from our ultimate. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I would just say, Salt, you should be way farther back because you know they're eventually going to push, right?
Yeah.
Just walled himself.
Skill. Oh.
Okay. I'm going to make the assumption that we did not plan to have stickies plus stomp.
No.
Okay. This turned out to be a beautiful play. Okay. However, unfortunately, I can't give that much credit on it because, number one, it's very rare you're going to be able to hit stuff like this. And number two, it might not have been the best play based on what they used, right? So let's say, for example, that we go for this stomp, and let's say that the Soj hits her slide back and she lands about here.
Mhm.
Our Malga is now going to be here, and we don't have cage. If we had cage, I think this is fine. Because if they use OC and we just cage, we can block the OC.
Yeah.
And just trap all these people inside, right? But if you're stranded here without cage, the Soj is going to like shoot, and your Malga's HP is going to dwindle down pretty quickly. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
It looked fucking sick though. It looked really dope.
And we did
yeah.
plan that. We called that we were gonna force bridge. We heard them
Yeah.
block up.
I mean, I didn't hear you say like calling stickies though. So I mean, like,
We didn't call stickies. We just called the engage.
yeah, we called the engage. Yeah, we called the engage. Like I'm gonna slam here.
You subconsciously knew, and I knew.
Yeah. So this
Yeah,
I don't
real.
mind at all. Like I don't really mind you stomping. Obviously the stickies are really good, but I personally would really not like my echo being on this side of the map. I'd want my echo to be on like this side of the map. I'd much rather have my echo hiding here with my brig. And so when they cross and their front line goes forward, their back line ends up here. And if we Malga stomp in, my brig is sitting here and my echo peaks like here, you know, or like in the air behind them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I feel like we should have a cut angle on their backline. Like
I agree.
something else we can maybe do is like our Reaper's playing over here and we scout where they are and then we hide a bit. And then once they walk forward, we 3, 2, 1 Malga stomp in and my Reaper like TP's here. Or like behind this rock and then like walks behind type stuff. You know what I mean? Like I think we should be really fucking aggressive on going on their backline, you know? But yeah, so like here, we obviously do an incredible job. This looks great. But imagine if our echo was, instead of being over on that side, if our echo was like here right now. You know what I mean? Or our Reaper
Yeah.
like TP'd here right now. As our Malga's saying, hey, look at me, look at me, look at me. I'm stomping on you. Be very, very scared. And your Reaper's just like, nope, I'm behind you. I kill everyone. Right? So I think we can set up some really aggressive angles and like crashes a lot better. But this play's awesome. Like this is a great play. So well done. Okay, now they go white room, which is interesting. Whoa. This is so aggressive. You very aggressive. Maybe you'll win if you have Juno ult though.
We did. I think we called it Juno too. Yeah.
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 So I don't mind that too much. What I more so mind about it is that we're forcing ourselves to take the fight fast, and we're forcing ourselves to use Juno ult fast if that's our plan. And in my opinion, they should just die and use nothing because they can come back in time. I would rather drag out this neutral until this says like 70 and then go for this play. Because then once the play's over, it's like 90% by the time they respawn, they have to touch with 10 seconds left.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Right. Yeah.
Like, I think we can really squeeze more value and more time out of this neutral. I don't think there's something that's telling us, like, we have to go now. Right? Hasn't even hit 60% yet, and we're already ripping our ring and our stomp and just everything. Right? This is a good wall by them. Or a decent wall. They end up using beat, which I think is okay by them. But they need to get out of this room ASAP. What I would do if I was their team is just anyone who's to the left, walk out here. Anyone who's to the right, just walk out here and then reconnect afterwards. Climb up here, TB through. Everyone play to save your own life. We'll see if they do that well.
As no, he dies here.
Do you see how they stay in the room? This is very bad on their part. Okay. Okay. If the play is to go with Juno, why is our team so far?
Yeah.
Just so far away, okay? The only reason why we die here is not because of the blade, it's because we're here at the beginning of the Juno ult. If your brig gets inside of Juno ult, this brig is now a Reinhardt. They will not die. Okay? But we are so far away on our play Then their Genji gets behind us. Now there's still some separation. We're still not in Juno ult, right? Then we have to pop rally. And then we bash in to the, like, trying to reach our Juno ult, and we're still not there, right? And then once we bash back towards our team, we start walking almost towards the Genji. See here, we start walking towards him. As a Brig, you should still be backing up into your Juno. But it's so far from you, okay? So we just need to be, like, if this is the call, which it seemed like that this was called, like, you guys are telling me it was called, it was, like, planned or something. We need everybody to be listening to the plan. Because if our Brig is closer here, you do not get traded at all. This is too strong, okay? Beam is just too strong. So as long as you get into that beam, you just become Thanos.
Yeah, we did say that before. Everyone needs to fight him.
Yeah. Just get in the beam. All 5 people should try to get into the beam. Oh, be careful, be careful, be careful. Ah, I saw it coming.
Agreed.
Okay, first off, when this character uses slow, be very careful staying in it too long. Okay, like hard respect it. Number 2, if we see that she has high charge, we also need to respect that. Both of those things were true, and then we got traded as a result. Okay. Like, if anything, your echo should go this way, I think. If you already see your Malgas going this way, take the kite path, right? Like, expect where they're going to kite away from your Malga, which is going to be like in this direction. Okay. So as the echo player, don't stack on your Malga because you guys are shooting the same angle. I know it's very micro, but just take the wide angle like this, and then all of a sudden you have a pinch, and they can't possibly kill you both. We do end up getting the trade. Salt might just die, though. Salt's probably dead. Yep.
You guys are recording, right?
Yep, I got it.
Salt is, yeah.
Already. I gotta go to bed.
Oh. Okay, we're trying to stall. Don't mind this, actually. Don't mind this too much. Please don't use an ultimate, though. Do not cage here. Do not cage. Do not cage. Do not cage.
No,
do
no,
not
no,
cage.
get here.
Good. Very good. Okay, fine. I'm really okay with that. Really okay with that.
Yeah, that was called. We're so smart.
Nice.
I called it. I call it literally everything because I'm so smart.
I wasn't in the game, so okay, that's why.
That's true. That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
If you were in the game, you would have called, bro. Trust.
Get some nice stickies. Cool.
After this one round, do you mind if we swap to another map? Because I want to make sure that one of our players that's here gets. Because he's not even in them.
Did we track that they had a Curie Rush?
I think we did.
Did we track that they had like everything but Blade?
No. We did not say everything but Blade.
No. I think we had said that Curie and Hazard Alt. I don't think we knew that beat.
I think we missed Surge. That's what we missed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, something I would have maybe tried to do is not use Stomp early. Just
Right.
walk forward and cage, and then if they use 2 ultimates, just cancel the cage and stomp out.
Yeah.
Or what you could do is you could go early with your dupe, and then if they use anything, just get out and trade it. You know, could have been okay.
Yeah, okay.
Is it Hazard dupe? Is Hazard dupe better? I feel like no, right? If we're gonna be caging first tempo, don't we want to dupe Soj and then just get an E inside of the cage?
I
Could go
agree and
Genji as well.
disagree. The thing is that with Haz, you can lock off a big chunk, and then you can kind of like, how do I explain it? You're in a giant fighting ring, and Haz
Is his dupe
loves
broken?
giant
Does his
fighting
block
rings.
farm ult quickly?
Oh yes. Oh,
Okay.
absolutely. And you take less damage on top of that. Like,
Okay. Yeah.
I think it's valid. I just suck at playing Haz because like I just don't.
No, I mean I don't know how fast this charges because I've never duped a Hazard before. But if this block thing charges his ultimate really quickly, then I think it's probably optimal. You know. But
Yeah, he got to 40 like almost instantly, so
yeah.
just then dies.
I think this fight, by the way, is simply a byproduct of this fight that we took here. I think
Yeah.
the only reason we're in this position is because of what occurred here. Like there was trades that happened, right? There was like ultimates that we used a little bit too early. So
Like we had to use
These guys are now in a really good position to win the game if they just pop OC early and just go. They should be OCing right about now. Yep. That wall is tough. It's kind of weird that a tank character has a wall. I feel like it's just kind of weird.
It's
like,
a very
design-wise.
unique choice.
Yeah, I just feel like tanks shouldn't have walls, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Especially not tanks this mobile.
I mean,
I
it's
think-
eatable, deflectable, blockable wall. I mean, it's more counterplay compared to me.
That's true.
Maybe, but if he shoots it at the ground, like how do you deflect that?
True.
You know what I mean? Or like hits a wall with it. How do you deflect that? But yeah. Okay. What map did you guys want to look at? What'd you say?
Colosseo.
Colosseo. Okay.
I mean, I want to
The
go to
first
bed.
screenshot. Yeah, you can go to bed. Penguin.
No worries.
This is just for
Is it-
me and
is it
Destiny
this
'cause
one?
you both play. It's
Okay.
00R8ED.
Okay.
00R. Yeah, you got it.
Got it.
Yeah, just because. Yeah, because I want Destiny and I to also get bodied or beat in the in the bodies.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Let's
this is a
see.
good VOD to review.
Yeah, exactly. That's fine.
All right. We are
Red team.
right. I was gonna say we're playing against a kind of weird comp. Our comp is also interesting. It's fine, but it's not a combination I see very often. The Tracer with the Soj is not a combo I see too often. It can't be bad. Like Tracer is always good. But yeah, not something I see too much. When we're facing this comp from the enemy team, like what do you guys recognize about the matchup?
Well, they just win poke since they have.
Okay, of course, right? Which means that we win.
Well, we win short and close engages.
Yeah,
right?
like
So
more
we try
brawlier
to-
types of fights,
yeah.
right? So that means that our control over the objective should be higher. That means our ability to force out space should be higher, but their ability to do damage to us should be higher,
Should be
especially
higher,
on like
yeah.
longer lanes. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
when we're like taking these trades here, I would just say why? Like why even peak this against Widowmaker, Ana, Sojourn, Zenyatta? Okay. Don't sit here and take these fights. Just go overload this side of the map, force them away from the objective, and then start moving it. Okay. There's 12 seconds left until point unlocks. What we should be doing right now is figuring out ways to force them away back towards their spawn. So once this unlocks, we have full control. Does that make sense?
Sure, yeah.
So I think right now, like my Brig should be a tank player right now and just go walk on this diva. Like everyone just come over here. Maybe not everybody, right? You can maybe leave like Sojourn slightly behind over this way or something like that. But I really do think we should be overloading this side and saying, Diva, I need you to just go back to your spawn. You're not allowed to stay here. We outbrawl you. I'm going to walk on you. Okay. See how we're like neutraling against Zen, Widow, Ana, like we're just peeking. It's not going to do anything, right? Then we get hit by a nade. And then now, because of this neutral that we took, we're really, really low. We got hit by some nades, right? Which is what their characters are good at doing. And now when the bot unlocks in 5 seconds, we're not actually in a position where we can say, hey, we're stronger than you in the brawl. Because an Orisa might be stronger than Diva. A Brig might be stronger than a Diva in the brawl, but not if you're 1 HP.
Yeah.
Right? So their Diva also gets a pick. Now we have to use gold because we're low HP. We're trying to peel Diva. They have full point control. They're going to spam. Maybe get another pick here. There's the pick. There's another pick. Okay, and then we end up losing first fight. So it's just like, if you want to figure out where your win condition lies, something that's really good to know is also like from the Art of War type stuff, right? Like know your enemy.
Yeah.
If you know what your enemy wants to play for, think about what's the opposite of that. So if you were a Widow, what would you hate? You know, like people flanking you, people pushing you, people not peeking you. All of those things are true for our composition to do to beat the Widowmaker, right? If you were playing something super, super pokey, what would you hate? Like people taking space, right? People being behind cover, not even peeking, right? This lane, super, super long. This type of space, this is cover. 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 I can use cover as little checkpoints for myself to be safe against poke. You guys understand?
Right.
Yeah.
So we can use that side of the map, which is a lot more cluttered and a lot more short range because it's split up by a bunch of different like pieces of cover and corners and stuff, we can use that to our advantage to reach them closer and make them have to rotate, which I think is very, very valuable. Okay. Another thing we can do in this matchup is, honestly, I would probably swap your tank maybe.
That's what we did, yeah. Swapped Manga
okay.
after this one.
Do you guys swap Malga?
Yeah, we did.
I was gonna say swap to Ram.
Really?
Actually, yeah, instead of Malga. I think their composition, if they catch you in open space, is actually quite good against Malga. They're gonna farm rail really, really, really easily, right? Discord's gonna hurt a lot. Anti in particular is gonna hurt a lot. Oh, you guys end up swapping to Kiriko to deal with the anti. I see. I just noticed that. And also Malga, in terms of his like M1, if they catch you on a timing, their matrix will just stop all of your damage. Right?
Yeah.
So it might be easier to actually just play Ram, where you have a shield, you have specific push timings you can go for, and you can punch through matrix, which is quite nice. And you're still really survivable. You just use block and then you're good. I think Ram can be okay. Brig is really, really, really good against D.Va though, so I feel like you guys kind of got baited a bit with this. I feel like you guys were thinking, hey, they have an Ana, let's just play Kiri and it's always a good idea. I would actually disagree. I think you can like abuse the Ana more by marking her more with Tracer, or marking her with shields, or marking her with just our eyes and kind of like our attention. But I think if you swap off of the Brig, you lose a lot of the ability to just brawl out this D.Va. So the two characters that counter D.Va the hardest for the most part, a lot of people think Zarya. It's not really true. It's actually characters more like Mei, or it's characters like Brig, are just insane value against D.Va. D.Va can't do anything against Brig. You just walk on her. You basically outbrawl her like you're a little Reinhardt. Okay. So yeah, I would probably go. I would go Ram. Also, we could make the argument that this map has a lot of kind of space, right? Like for us to actually reach the Widow, reach the Zen, reach this character, we'd have to cross a lot of space. And since we don't have a shield here, it's a little scary to ever cross, right? Like I'm sure Pingu here is feeling a lot of pressure. Like, ooh, like it feels hard for me to even peek, let alone walk onto them, right?
Is
so if we have a shield,
ever valid?
I think Winston could also be perfectly fine, yeah. But if you're gonna play Winston, I would say why even play this style of comp? Like why not just play something like Kiri Lucio, you know? Like if you played Winston Kiri Lucio with Genji Tracer and you just went on backline, you probably win for free. But if you're trying to play something that's a bit more brawly, then I feel like you could play like even Mei with maybe I don't even know. Yeah, maybe like Mei Ram could be fine.
And keep the Tracer for.
I was thinking keep Soj, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, gotcha.
I think if you're going Tracer, like Tracer is just a really good character in general, like is almost always good. But I would lean more into it, you know, like figure out a better win condition. Like if you want to lean into having a Tracer, then just lean into full dive at that point and just dive them, because they don't have a lot of survivability. Uh-oh. Okay, we get some trades. It's looking a bit scrappy. Okay, we lose some people. Okay, go to next fight. Quite low. Yeah, like, do you see how awkward it feels for Orisa to play the game?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, what is Orisa supposed to do, you know? It's just not a good matchup for her, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what I would like to see is maybe my Brig and my Soj, or my Kiri and my Soj would go take this angle and like challenge these guys. Maybe could be good. Or my Tracer would figure out a way to get on their backline and just like harass them, kind of. Okay, then I'm going for an ambitious bomb. Okay. How is our Tracer dead? Our Tracer's jumping. That's the problem. Okay.
Yeah.
So just don't jump versus Widow. That's the main thing. What you can probably do is walk over to here and use this little sign as cover. Okay, so don't peek out like this, but peek more just over to like this. Then you can just blink and reach here. And if she sees you make that blink, that's fine, because you want her eyes to be drawn here. You want her to sit here and hard scope on you, okay? Because if she's looking at you, she's not looking at your team. And that means that her D.Va is getting less damage in this area. Okay, if you make their Ana turn around, your goal is not necessarily to kill the Ana or to kill the Zen or to kill the D.Va or not the D.Va, or to kill the Widow or whatever, right? Your goal is simply to attract attention. So if you can just make them paranoid that you're behind them, and you can make them chase you, and you can keep dancing around cover and just playing your life, they're going to be so paranoid in their position that they're either going to rotate away from their position, which is not what they want to do, or they're going to not be giving attention to their front line, which means that their diva is going to take infinite damage. Does this make sense?
Yeah.
We just want to make their heads turn. That's basically it. If we can do that, their diva is destabilized. We get to push the diva out. She flies back to her team. We move the objective. Everybody is happy. Okay. Our Soj is very far in. Maybe we're able to live. Oh my god, their Widow's killing everyone. Oh, the jump shot. Ooh.
That's nasty.
Okay. Juno ult with Orisa ult is really good if you're in the Orisa mirror. Not so much if you're against this team, because who exactly are you going to hit with that, and who is the Juno ult going to affect? Like, Juno ult will always have some effect, okay, guys? I'm not saying it's like impossible to get value with it against comps. It'll always have some sort of effect, but it's going to have a less effect if their team is like already in Narnia and then their diva's like here. If I Juno ult this diva, what should they do? Matrix or fly away, right?
Yeah, just
and it's like everyone else is already basically pre-kited. Like they're so far away from our beam that like it's really hard for our beam to influence these people like all the way in the back of the map. Okay, so I think when we go for this combo, it just ends up kind of being a waste because it's like like who are we actually trying to Orisa? Who are we trying to beam? It's tough to say, right? So this beam might be okay because maybe it's used to stable us. Maybe we're kind of low. Maybe we just want to force this diva off the objective. I guess it could be all right. But our composition to me just doesn't really make that much sense. I feel like it's really hard for us to play this matchup right now, So what I always say is to my players, I usually tell them try to think about the philosophy of path of least resistance, right? You have to be like water. You have to be flexible. So if there's a composition that's giving you a lot of trouble, see if there's weaknesses in their comp that you can exploit that allow you to just win if you make swaps, right? Try to see if there is weaknesses in their defensive holds. For example, what they're doing now is they're probably going to set up these little defensive holds, right? But is there a rotation that we can make that attacks them from the outside in that pushes their Widow to stack with their Diva, that pushes their Ana to not play split and to instead stack with her team? Because what I would be really afraid of if I was facing a team like this is if their Widow was like all the way over here and their Ana was all the way over here and they had like a Zen over here and all these different angles and everyone's really, really far. What I would be really, really not afraid of, okay, because here, like if I walk anywhere, I get shot up, right? It's just a shooting range. But if their team is forced to get pushed in from the sides with like Genji Trace or Genji Lucio type pressure, Winston and stuff like that, if we force their team to be more stacked because they're scared of getting isolated and killed, then what ends up happening is like their Widow, Ana, Zen, and whoever plays right here with their Diva, and now they're brawling. Does this look as scary? No, right? Because they see the same stuff as everybody else. There's no additional off angles that they're taking to pressure us, right? There's just one main angle. And that's not scary at all because now we know what to avoid, right? So I think if you guys can find opportunities, just make the game easier for yourself. You'll probably be pretty happy when you're playing scrims, right? Like don't feel, I guess the word is don't feel ashamed for taking the easy way out. It's not really the easy way out. It's more playing optimally, in my opinion. Now, the Mauga here is arguably better than the Ori, is what I would say, for sure. Because at least Mauga can reach people easily, right? But yeah, I think you guys could also just mirror the Diva is probably fine and then play a Mei. I think that's okay too. They end up going for kind of a sneaky engage. I think just in general, this is a pretty important area to scout when we're crossing on Colosseo versus any composition, okay? So they do a really good job of setting up with their Diva and with their Ana. This is a very Korean style of playing Ana. It's very, very aggressive, and they kind of just like throw nades from the side flanks and stuff and take their own little aggressive flanks together. But just in general, I really think like our Tracer especially could be scouting this, or just like anyone could look to the left and just make sure that that's clear. I don't think anyone really looked. I think we're always focused in front of us towards the objective. So just make sure on our retakes that we're clearing stuff, because this ends up being a free kill for them and doesn't feel as great, right? We do end up getting kills on their backline though, so that's awesome. Our Balk is going to probably take infinite damage here. Oh, unless we kill their Ana, which we did. So that looks good. They did end up trading quite a bit, though. Do they grab the Mega? Yes, they do. Do they get over the wall? Not quite. We should be able to stagger this. Maybe. Maybe still. It's tragic. Okay. All right. Do you guys end up winning this map or losing this map, by the way?
I think we lose it.
Okay, great pick here. Really good.
Yeah, we lose it. We're not able to push past second.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, second point, I think.
Okay. Can I give you guys a piece of advice?
Of course.
Which character in our comp can push point? Okay. In this game mode, does this move faster with more people on it?
It does not, no.
Okay. So what do you guys think I'm going to say?
That just leave one person.
Leave tracer
and then
point.
Take space.
With this composition versus this composition, it is illegal for you guys to be on low ground.
Yeah.
Okay? The floor is now lava. Do not touch any of this space. Get to high ground early. Okay? When you get to high ground early as a ground tank, you enable yourself to have the option to drop if needed. So you can play high and you can play low if you need to drop. When you start on low ground, how does my Mauga get to here? The answer is he doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I would like from you guys is for you guys to squeeze their space. If we allow these characters who are long range to go out into this space and to take the high grounds and to take all these really, really wide angles, that is what benefits them. Understand? So if we give them the space to work with, it becomes really, really hard for us to mark those angles and collapse on those angles and reach them with characters like this. If we had a Winston comp, maybe it'd be different, right? Because he can click a button and go anywhere. Mauga can't do that as well as Winston because he doesn't have the verticality of Winston.
Right.
Okay. On a map with a lot of high grounds. So what we can say instead is, hey, if our comp is better than them in the brawly close range area, why don't we make the map smaller for ourselves? Why even let them pass this line?
Yeah.
Right? Why even give them bridge? Why even give them any of these rotations? What if we minimize the map where instead of it looking like this big, we take that arc and we make it this big? This is now their space and this is our space. I'm going to hold here with my Mauga. Right? I'm going to hold here with my, Tracer, let's say, if she's not on point, or my theoretical Reaper, or my Soja's going to play here with like my Kiriko. And my Juno's going to be over here or something. Now, if they walk forward, my Mauga Tracer can go. Now, if they peek, my Sojourn can like swing here.
Yeah.
You guys get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So why not set up close and hold this area with 4 people and leave Tracer behind? And that way we don't struggle against angles. Make them clear us. Because you know what a Widowmaker hates to do? Swing like this and shoot a Mauga to clear him.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of difficult, right? What Widowmaker wants is, oh, thank you for giving me bridge. Thank you for giving me this rotation here so I can shoot you when you're on point. Right? I love all these nice little high grounds. What she would hate to do is walk through a choke. So play to your comp's strengths and play to their comp's weaknesses. We know that their comp wants open space with angles and nice, like, wide formations, okay? So if we can hold this corner right here and stop them from crossing that line, they're going to struggle for sure. They're really going to struggle. Okay? Mauga should not be on point. You're going to take infinite damage. Just get off a point. Get off a point. Get off a point. Tracer should be touching. Good. We should all be going high ground. This is a great jump. This is very good. But now, because we don't have people high ground, what's going to happen to our Sojourn? They're scared of Diva Fly, so they drop immediately. Yeah. Right? So it's like we're making our teammates' jobs harder by not taking the high ground.
Not contesting, yeah.
Okay. In the event... Yeah, go ahead.
In before, if we're like down to player, do we still want to like rush kind of take high ground from them? Is that still the play? Or?
Really depends. Yeah.
Depends on who's
depends on what player you lose, and it also depends on like what comp you're running, So I would say most times it's pretty decent that when you're down a player to just regroup. It's really okay. It's just a general default idea. So I wouldn't overthink it too much. Yeah. Okay. But just in general, when you're down a player, try to regroup. Don't play too aggressive, or else you're just gonna.
Or like have still the Tracer push and then have her just leave,
just have Tracer push, and then Tracer can just get out by herself.
Yeah,
later,
exactly.
Is really, really good. Yeah, great. One thing as well is in the event of an emergency, I think because especially you're running Juno Kiri, you have 2 characters that have flex supports worth of heals. Okay, so Kiri usually just has a Lucio with her, but now you have a Juno who does infinite healing as well. So your Kiriko can actually be the Tracer on point if you really wanted to. If you're really invested in having your Tracer set up for some reason, then your Mauga can go high ground with your Juno and just leave Kiriko on point. If their Diva flies on Kiriko and takes that 1v1, give them the objective and just TP past and win the fight. And then your Tracer can maybe grab point later. Just stall the objective with Kiri and then TP away, and then you're fine. Here we end up TPing not a good way. Okay, we're on point. We TP to our Tracer to help, and then now we're ISO'd. We should be dead
Yeah.
here, in my opinion, for sure. We should be dead.
I think we do die.
They should hit a nade. They should do something. We're gonna die eventually.
Yeah.
Now we're dead. Okay. So this is because we're on low ground. The only reason we die here is because they're just sitting right here. So just do not let them access the map. Say you have to get past my Mauga if you want to touch any of these angles. You're not allowed to come into the map. You got to like bodyguard the map basically from them. Because once they're out, it's going to be tough for you. Okay. There's also an argument that, especially if their D.Va is the one that's pushing point, which it looked like here, D.Va was the one that took space and their Tracer wasn't here. Maybe you guys got the kill on their Tracer. I think there's a real argument for leaving your Tracer to 1v1 the D.Va, and your Mauga should be going here and looking to stomp this way and like getting in on their backline. I don't really like that our Mauga is just on point, you know? Like, it doesn't feel natural. Like, this to me does not feel natural. I don't think our ground tank should be matching their tank on point. Make their tank take, like, an uneven match, if that makes sense.
Right.
Like, if their D.Va's here, just say, okay, you're an idiot. I'm going to go here. Like, I'm on your Zenyatta. Like, my whole team is coming in this way. And then our Tracer can be left here, right? And just kind of take that 1v1, maybe.
I assume she mostly just plays to live, right? Like, she's not trying to actually win the one.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, play to live.
Yeah.
Because eventually we'll get a kill, right?
Yeah.
Like, whose ability to get a trade and get a kill is stronger? A D.Va and a Tracer 1v1, right? Or a D.Va 1v1ing a Tracer, I should say.
Yeah.
Or Mauga plus a bunch of people getting onto their backline.
Yeah.
Like, that is going to result in a kill faster and more consistently than their D.Va killing our Tracer in a solo fight. So our Tracer just plays to live, and then we're chilling, okay? This Brig swap's really good. I think this is like the right character to play into D.Va most times. Like, if you're playing into D.Va, just generally Brig's a great call. Now their D.Va can't really touch the point. You guys have infinitely more cart pressure. With like Brig plus like Brig pocket onto Tracer is really good. Okay. Okay, a little bit unlucky. Once we get discorded, just try to D-peek ASAP. I think we still tried to stay and kind of take the neutral trade against their Soj. Just D-peek, right? But this is a bit unlucky, I will admit it. It's definitely a bit unlucky. Okay. Here, for example, if we ever touch this area, we're going to die, theoretically speaking. My Mauga cannot be here. My Brig cannot be here. None of my characters can be here, except for my Tracer once we take high. So what we would usually do, like on Spitfire, something we used to do was we would have setups with like Ryan or Sig, and we would be playing like maybe May and Soj with like Bap Lucio.
Wait, you were on Spitfire?
I coached Space Station.
Oh yeah, that was the same roster. Yeah,
same roster. But on Spitfire, stuff that we used to do was we would like May wall here with 5 people sitting on it.
Yeah, I remember
boost ourselves
that.
up to here. Yeah. And then we would put a BAP window that was like this.
Yeah.
So so you could shoot out both sides. So we would window like this with like a little sliver on both sides. So you could shoot out this way and shoot out this way. That is how we would usually retake in this space. The problem is that we don't have any verticality. So this is a very awkward retake. I think honestly what you might have to do is get like very creative with how you retake. Like maybe you'd have to have your Mauga like go into here and go this way and go this way and go this way and force the high. Or you'd have to have your Mauga go
like
this way.
the map kind of.
Yeah, and go this way and stomp up here, for example. But it's really awkward. Like maybe even Mauga could go, you know, somewhere over here and then take the high this way. Is probably like a decent idea. So I don't actually know intuitively which decision is the best. I think this actually feels quite natural if you can go for it. And I also think that like this feels fairly natural as well. But you cannot go this way is what I'm saying. You will get naded, discorded, shot at, like Soj slowed, you know, like you can never touch point. So now because of the comp that we've chosen, you guys are in a stalemate. How do you actually make progress, you know? Like it's so hard. But you have to get your Mauga onto their backline somehow. And it's up to you guys to find that pathing, to find that route, okay? It could be left side, it could be right side, it could be whatever, right? Okay, they use trance. How did we use our Juno ult here? It looked very far. Why did we Juno ult? So this Juno ult to me doesn't see anything. Right? Like it's a Juno ult that doesn't, I don't understand it as well. If they use their nano and that nano engages onto us, I think using our Juno ult just to stable is like pretty okay. It's pretty okay, right? But I would have preferred that we go with cage first and then now we're Junoing into this cage if they end up using something, you know what I mean? But again, it's a bit awkward. This map is super open. It's tough to get that Juno value. Like it's not really your fault. It's just tough. It really is tough. Like I think both games we're playing against a matchup where it's objectively just harder than usual to get Juno value, because usually you're going to be an Amalga mirror, right? So it's like, oh, their Amalga has no stomp. Let me just Juno on his face and then we're good, right? But it's not really the case here with this kind of composition. Okay, they're down there nade. Maybe we can go now. Uh-oh, we stomp back. Why do we stomp back? Maybe we needed to. Okay, we're under a bit of pressure. Makes sense. No worries. Okay, now we get out. We need to cleanse this Discord. Okay. Then the cool thing about this is that now, like I said, it's a stalemate, right? Like you guys can't push the bot forward, but they're also going to struggle to get the bot around this corner because now they're pushing into more close space, right? Like you guys own the space and they have to push into it, and their comp's not the best at doing that. So
yeah.
But the stalemate technically benefits them. Does anyone know why?
Well, they have card progress.
Yeah, they got the lead, right?
Yeah.
So if they
They're just
every
putting
second
time.
off of this clock is more beneficial to blue team.
Yeah.
Okay? So this stalemate is no bueno for us. Not good at all. Like we're stalemating, nothing's happening. Then we go for a ring. I don't know about this one. This is a tough sell. Are we gonna like stomp and try to go up the stairs? That's what it looks like.
Yeah,
Definitely
we're
what
just
doing.
like
Okay.
hinting on the Juno.
I mean, honestly, guys, genuinely, I get kudos for this. Okay, is this the best play in theory? Probably not, but in practicality, it's not bad. It's really not bad. You guys found a way to catch them off guard and catch them by surprise. And anytime you can catch somebody by surprise in a competitive environment, it's usually a good thing, right? So in this case, nothing else was working, and you guys just said, "Fuck it, I'm just pulling the trigger. Let's just go into our brains out onto a character and see what happens." And it worked. It really did work. Now, will somebody get traded? Very high chance. We shall see.
Yeah.
There's the trade. There's actually 2 trades. Okay. So did it work? The initial plan? Yes, absolutely. And I really don't mind it at all. I think it's actually something I should encourage as a coach, is going for plays like this. Okay. Where like, say, fuck the theory. I'm just going for something that's practical. Okay. I'm going to catch them off guard. I'm going to switch up the tempo. I'm going to change the pace of the game, play at a different speed, and like stuff like that's really good. But unfortunately, even though we get the initial kill, it is very, logical to note that this play is actually really not that great because it leaves us completely vulnerable once we've accomplished our goal. So we now get crashed on. Yeah. So what I would recommend is, in general, when we need to go take this high ground, the intentions are good, but the execution is not so much. Okay. We understand that our Malga needs to reach this space in order to let us progress throughout this map. Okay. But this is not the time nor place where we should be using a ring and a stomp to reach that area. Right. Why can we not just walk here, and then ring? Why can we not walk here, then ring? Or like, walk, get closer to them, and then fight here. Right? We are forcing ourselves to take 5 people, and most importantly, our backline, to somehow survive this journey.
Right.
It's a little scary. Right? So,
yeah, 100%.
Set up your staging. The way we should be thinking about our composition is almost kind of like a dive comp into what they're playing, right? We almost need to kind of dive their backline. As a Winston, I would never want you jumping from here, right? As a Winston, I'd want you to walk to here, right? And then jump. So set up for your dive before you actually pull the trigger, okay? We can, like, the higher quality your setup is, the higher quality your eventual dive will be, okay? And again, because we have 2 supports back here, right? Because we're playing a more standardized formation where frontline goes in, backline follows. They know that naturally, so they hit your backline because they have angles set up pre-fight that are able to see your backline when they cross, correct?
Yeah.
So does anyone know what we should do? Split your backline so they can't get traded. So let's say my Juno, instead of going from here, went from like here or something. That could be cool, right? But imagine if someone was over here. That's a lot harder to trade, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, is it more aggressive? Yes. But because they don't show themselves, they don't reveal themselves until we go, they're actually not in any danger because nobody knows that they're there.
Like backline would go left.
So, for example, it could be like your Brig maybe would walk this way with like your Soj or something like that. So maybe like your
the
Malga,
Juno goes to the right. Okay.
Yeah, maybe like Malga Juno goes this way. you know?
Gotcha.
And so like Malga Juno go through this space and they're all looking here, then your Sojourn peaks here and your Brig's over here. And so if they go on your Brig, they're not pressuring your Juno. If they go on your Juno, then your Brig wins the fight. Again, off angles force choices. This doesn't force a choice. It's just a 5-man push. You understand?
So, yeah. Is there a reaction there to just wait, or would they just try and like? What if they try and push one single side? Is it
if I was coaching them, their objective right now is to understand one of two things. Okay, or two things basically. The first one is that they have a poke advantage.
Yeah.
Which means that they want to play slow and just shoot as much as they can.
Right.
The second thing they should understand is that the enemy team doesn't have a poke advantage. Okay, the enemy team, which would be red team here from our new perspective, right? Red team has to eventually do a play like this and pull the trigger. These guys, if they're coached properly, should expect a like freakish play by red team. Because if red team just sit here, they will guarantee lose. There's no universe where sitting here will work. So eventually red team has to push in theory. If we know that is 100% a guarantee, why are we not expecting it? How do we get caught here? That's what I would say to them if I was coaching. So if I look at their formation here, right? This formation is okay, right? I think their Zen could be here, but it's fine. I also think that their Soj should probably be here, in my opinion. Okay? And then maybe their Diva plays here. Okay?
Yeah.
So I don't like where their Soj is at all, because I think that this is easier to reach than this is for our comp. Like Soj should be playing here for like E value, shooting this, teaming up with Tracer. Notice how Sojourn's LOS doesn't really connect with their Tracer's pressure. I'd much rather have Soj here shooting the same target as Tracer. Okay. But yeah, so they go in. Their Soj, does their Soj slide it like weirdly or something? Or did they even use slide at all? I didn't even see. I mean, their Soj is just like, I don't know what the fuck they're doing. Okay, I'll be real. But they don't use their slide, which is unfortunate, right? But then their Diva pinches, and you'll notice that all of their pressure stays intact. So their angles that they have right now are actually quite good. Really.
Yeah.
Like the way that they're playing this is what is good. It's just that their Soj fucked up. Okay. If their Soj didn't fuck up, we are really, really, really in trouble, and we're basically in trouble anyways. What their Zen is doing here is also a very good play. He should drop. He should drop to avoid the Malga. He should start to brawl because they're up in players. They just need to stack together and then steal the objective. Oh, almost get the trade. Very good try. Very good try. But yeah. Okay. This all making sense to you guys?
Yes.
Okay.
It is to me at least.
All right, we're about 15 minutes over, which is okay.
Yes,
My VODs usually go on pretty long anyways, but I think that's probably enough for today.
It's wonderful.
Main takeaways from today, honestly, are a little bit different than how I'm usually coaching teams. So main takeaways from today for you guys is just focusing on finding the correct win condition. All right. Most times I have to tell teams like take the best angles or do this or do that, and it's like different macro concepts. I really think for you guys, it's just being able to calculate what is the correct composition for us to play, number one, and number two, kind of like why is it the correct composition? Because it has to play for some sort of advantage in the neutral, right? So if they're playing Widow, Zen, Ana, Soj, that's really fucking pokey. So maybe we play something that's really divey and really fast. Now, please don't quote me and say, hey guys, Suji says that like brawl beats dive and dive beats poke and poke beats, you know, whatever. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. That's too oversimplified. But there is actually some truth to that stereotype. Okay. So if they're playing hyper pokey, then let's play something that's really divey that can reach them easier. Orisa is not going to do that for you. Right? Kiri Juno might not even do that for you. It'll help a little bit, but now we're losing the Brig value against the Diva. So maybe we just play something else entirely. Maybe we go like Kiri Lucio could be an option, right? And maybe we play like Tracer, and maybe we play, I mean, fuck it, Sombra. Maybe we play Genji, right? Stuff like that. Maybe we swap to Diva or Winston or Doomfist or Wrecking Ball, whatever you'd like. You know what I mean? But at least we have a win condition that we're playing for, right? We know that we're playing really, really, really fast. Maybe we play for a composition that is really, really good at forcing the objective and simply absorbing damage and absorbing angular pressure into one space. You guys could honestly win this matchup with Rhine comp. I'm not kidding. This is very winnable with Rhine. And the reason why you might think, well, Rhine doesn't reach them either. He doesn't have to. He has a shield, right? He can force the objective, and he can, as long as his positioning is good enough, he can stack all of their damage into his shield. So he's not getting surrounded. Does that make sense? But if you were playing Reinhardt in this composition, you'd have to do the exact same stuff that we talked about. Find an angle to reach the backline and walk on them and out-brawl them. And you would also probably be playing a Mei, who can also wall off damage as almost like a pseudo shield. And then also you have the added benefit where on this map specifically, there's a really awesome Mei rotate that you can make with your wall to boost your team up the wall. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys kind of understand? So
Yeah.
you could win with Sigma maybe in this composition. Really, you could.
Mm-hmm.
So just find an answer. It doesn't have to be the best answer. It could be the second best answer, the third best, or the fourth best, right? As long as you guys find a cohesive justification for the characters that you play. Because I think like a lot of times throughout this VOD, I'm looking at the comp and I'm like, that just doesn't really make too much sense to me, right? There's got to be something better that we can play that doesn't make your guys' job so difficult. Because I think a lot of this is not really on you guys as players, it's on you guys as comp deciders.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So as long as you guys find the right comp, I think you guys are good enough players to win the game, right? As long as you're put in the right position. But you guys are putting yourself in tough spots, I think, because of what you're choosing to play. So just make it easier on yourselves, right? Ask yourself, what does their team want to do, right? What are their characters good at doing? What does their comp want to do to win? Okay, if that's their win condition, is there something else that we can do that counters that win condition or overpowers that win condition? If their Widow wants to play slowly and their Zen wants to play slowly and their Ana wants to play slowly, is there anything that we can play that's fast? Can we reach them somehow? Let's go JQ. And then somebody's going to say, well, you know, JQ just doesn't really have a shield. There's so much space that we have to cross. And you're like, oh, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it's Winston, guys. It's like, yeah, Winston sounds a bit better. Can reach them faster, can angle a little bit better, doesn't have to like actually walk to them physically, can just jump on them, right? So that kind of discussion as a team, I think would be very valuable for you guys, okay? Just discuss stuff as a team, make good decisions as a team, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Very much so.
Okay.
Does that counteract like playing a standard comp or having a sort of standard kind of rollout that you play? Like, should
Good
you always be
question.
looking for
Yeah.
what the enemy's doing and playing around that rather than playing, for example, our Maga strengths?
Right. Yeah, so that's a very good question. Here's what I would say to you, okay? When you are playing at a very high level in this game, we're talking tier 2, probably more towards tier 1, right?
Yeah.
When you're playing at a really high level, okay? A lot of teams will stick to their guns, so to speak, right? They will have compositions that they're known for. For Twisted Minds, it was Ashe Farah, right?
Yeah.
They had a Farah player, they had an Ashe player who's very good. So sticking to that is very smart from them. Okay. When London Spitfire was in 2023 playing in playoffs, right? They stuck to their guns playing Rhine because that is something that Chris worked on. That's something that we just wanted to play, right? So that is something that they stuck to and it ended up working out quite well for them. Okay. The Korean teams usually classically would stick to a lot of dive compositions, right?
Yeah.
At your guys' current level, not that you guys are bad players at all, but at your current level, there's a difference, right? Between the pros and between you guys. So what's going to happen is you're going to face teams like we saw in these VODs, where my question to you would be, are they playing comps that are like default and meta and standard?
No.
And the answer is absolutely not. So there's a balance that you have to find, right? Like I would say stay as informed as you can on what is meta, because usually there's a reason why it's meta. There's some sort of objective advantage to playing that composition that has been deemed strong enough where teams are replicating it across the board and people at all levels are playing, like right now, Juno Break. Teams are playing Malga. Teams are playing a lot of Echo and Reaper and Soj and Genji. You know why? Because they watch people at Stockholm do it. They watch people in scrims do it. Their friends tell them about it who watches pro play. It all trickles down from the top, okay? So stay informed on what is strong and give it your best shot. I would definitely say don't just forego meta entirely. You need to find a balance, right? Go for the meta as much as you can. But if you are in a scrim and it is objectively a bad matchup for whatever meta comp you're playing, then it's not really meta for that game, is it?
No, yeah.
Right? Make the correct swaps. This game was designed with the ability to swap your character. If it wasn't there, you know, there'd be a reason for that. But there's a reason it's there. Okay. So a lot of people say stuff like, oh my God, counter swapping so cringe. No, it's not. It's optimizing the game. Like if there's a diva that is rolling my team and swapping to Mei just wins, I'm gonna swap to fucking Mei. I'm gonna swap to Mei because it makes my job easier. Right. So
least resistance,
yeah. So just path of least resistance. Take the easy way out. And it doesn't make you a worse player. It doesn't make you more shameful or something. It is legitimately just playing the game the way it was designed. And that's how you win. So usually it's pretty fun to win. Yeah, I would just say if their comp is the slowest comp in the entire world, which their comp absolutely was, Play something that is the fastest comp in the entire world. Go fucking Tracer, Kiri, Lucio, Genji, Winston, and just jump their ass and see how they feel. I guarantee you after one team fight, they will be swapping their entire composition.
Yeah.
Okay? So go for stuff like that. Or just make slightly better tank swaps. I really think it's winnable with other stuff. I'm just saying, you know, when I'm usually coaching people, I want to not just coach specifically off of a VOD and what they decided to do. I want to coach for their brains to think in a certain way, right? So when you're calculating stuff for yourselves and you don't have a coach there, this is how I kind of want you guys to think is like, like what can we swap to that makes it easier? But I think swapping to Ram there could have been really reasonable. You have a shield to now take space that takes like 1,000 damage. That's not going to break. And that allows you to actually close the gap on a lot of them. And you're not going to reach them to punch them, but you will absolutely push them back, which means the cart will move. So that's a huge difference than playing Orisa or playing Mauga. It's like a bit tougher. Okay. But the Mauga could have worked. It really could have. It's definitely better than Ori. Ori, it's literally unplayable. But Mauga, you could play that. It's just you guys would need to take the flanks I told you about. You'd have to set up your tank almost like a Winston. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. 100%.